I get it. There we go.
He
50
had to make
Cent.
that gangster
I get money.
sway. He had to make that. He had to make that like gangster sway more infamous than it was already. That shit is wild.
All right, everybody. That's how we gonna come in on you. We gonna come in on you with a little 50 Cent, man. Classic shit right there, man.
Oh yeah. I don't know
I be
why that
watching
shit
them
just popped to me, and
videos.
I was like,
Huh?
I was saying that shit. I don't know how that shit happened. Like it just popped in my head, and I was like, man, fuck it. Like I was riding that in my head for a long time. And then I was just like, I just kept saying, I was like, yeah, that's how I'm feeling today.
Love that shit, man. Takes me back to that time, man. Music takes you back to when when it first came out, when it was fresh. It's like, damn,
Yeah.
this is like the new hot shit back then. You know what I'm saying? At that point, it's funny how something becomes like this new hot thing, and then there's something that like progresses it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's some stuff that's timeless, though. You know, like I think that song will be timeless, especially in our community. You know what I'm saying? That'll be a timeless fucking song
Definitely.
right there. You know,
Definitely.
we all relate to that, man. That's something that that hook is just keep repeating that over. It makes somebody want to go get some money, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Shout out to 50 Cent, man. I can remember when
Curtis
I was
Jackson.
I think I might have been like a senior in high school. Get Rich or Die Trying, the album that came out. So me and all my high school friends went to the mall, back when you actually did that shit, and bought the CD. Got the CD, man, and we just rode around and listened to that shit. Just riding around, listen to that. Do you remember those days when you used to do that with your friends? Just ride around and listen to music?
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to do
Yeah. You
nothing
ain't have to
else
worry
but
about
that.
nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ride around,
You ain't
listen
have
to
to worry about
music.
nothing.
Maybe run across some other classmates while you're out there. You never know what you can get into. You know what I'm saying? It was
Them
some
were the
good times,
times,
bro.
man. Those times right
Yeah.
there. Hell yeah.
Good shit. Good shit.
Shit.
All right. So now we're going to come to the subject at hand, everybody. Today's episode is going to star my man over my right shoulder, Avatar Aang. We're here to talk to you guys about Avatar The Last Airbender, man. Me and Smooth, we highly enjoy this show. I think I can kind of speak for both of us when I say it's touched us on a spiritual level, just beyond the surface of an animated series. The contents within this show have touched us in a way, and there's things within the show that I've really taken with me in my life, and they've helped. You know what I'm saying? And having that said is why I believe this show is like of great value. You know what I'm saying? But today we're here to give our thoughts on the show, but as well give you guys a little bit of history, that we know. And we're gonna break this up into parts because this series, you could talk about this for hours. You could talk about characters for hours. Like, just look at all the content out there about Avatar. There's content upon content upon content. There's even books that I don't think you've read. I know I haven't read any of the books, which I want to read and get into those stories as well. But we're gonna start you guys from the beginning. The beginning of Aang's story, because there's also Korra as well, which is another series that you should definitely check out. So we're gonna start you guys kind of from the beginning of Aang's story, and we're gonna just go from there, man. Really, I have a couple questions that I'm gonna ask Mr. Smooth, and I would really like to hear what he has to say. So, Mr. Smooth, what you got to say, my man?
Man, I don't know how. Like I don't know how. Like I fell in love with the show because I've watched it 4 or 5 times through. Um, and the first time I think it was just trying to keep up with the line of people that have watched it, so trying to keep up with them on it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the show is just it gets you in every sort of way. Like it pulls your heartstring. It's some stuff that'll fire you up. Um, I feel like people have yet to realize that yeah, they're animes, but there's still life lessons within those.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because there are older characters, and there are younger characters that are still trying to learn, you know. Um, and that show, man, is just the last Airbender shoe is a 10 out of 10 to watch for sure. So
No doubt.
if you can't find an anime to watch, that is a really good starter show to also watch. Is for sure. Especially you love elements, earth, wind, fire, water. You love elements like that. That is definitely a show that will draw you in. Um,
Comedy as
so
well. Lots of
balls in y'all's
comedy.
court now. So yes, it's got some comedy. It's definitely got a lot of comedy in there. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But
So what I would like to do,
let's
I
see.
would, I would kind of like to paint a picture of the world for
Okay,
people who aren't familiar.
world. Oh, I got it.
Getting it.
I got it. So the world of Avatar. Think of how our world is now. Like how land masses are separated, and you have your water tribes that are island based. You've got your Earth tribe, which I would kind of consider us like the America, kind of like Earth. Um, like your Asia, and um, even though like in the Avatar world, Asia and Russia would kind of be um your earth and air kind of land. Um, but nowadays, I kind of look at it like Asia is your fire, and Russia is kind of your air. Um, and then you got, like I said, your water tribes, and we're kind of earth. So you can look at it like that. Separated into elemental nations as how they'll do it. Um, and everybody's got like a different. Everybody, not everybody can wield an element, can bend an element, basically. Um, but those that can, um, some are respected, some are not. So, as in today's world of like some of your military, uh, respected, some are not. That's just how it is. But uh, and then your oppositions, everybody looks at each other differently. And that's kind of a prejudicial kind of thing too. But everybody still sees we're human, um, no matter where you are status wise in life. Like that's how Avatar is. And everybody goes through adversity, and that's a show full of it. So you love a good storyline, you love a good romance, a good comedy sketch, a good motivation. Definitely Avatar: The Last Airbender for sure. So
All right. I'm gonna paint the picture for you from my mind.
All right. Let's see it. Let's see it.
All right, everyone. So like Smooth was saying, imagine this world. Within this world, you pretty much have four separate nations. So you have the Water Tribe, which you could really kind of equate them to the Eskimo. Imagine people who live around ice. They hunt whales and they eat seal blubber. Imagine the Water Tribe. The Water Tribe also gives me a like a Native American kind of vibe as well to them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
very tribal, I guess you could say, while they're the Water Tribe. But so you have the Water Tribe, you have the Earth Kingdom, which I believe the Earth Kingdom is like the largest mass, like geographically, like the
Mass.
largest mass land within the series. The Earthbenders, they are very the people of the nation. They really mirror the element of the nation that they're in. So the Earthbenders, they're very firm and stable people. They're very stubborn as well, straightforward as well. You know, so you have the Earth Kingdom, and you have the air nomads, which the air nomads, they live in different temples. Because I remember they had like the southern and north, the eastern and the western air temples. But they're nomads, so they kind of go with the flow of life. It's said that the airbenders are the most closely, they're more, I guess, like spiritually inclined because they spend their lives, meditating and going within and things of that nature and focusing on the spiritual side. So like you were saying, how everybody's not a bender. Now a bender in this show is someone that can wield that specific element. So within the show, you have people who within these nations that can actually wield this specific element, the earth, the air, the fire, and the water. There's some that are gifted with these abilities, but the air nomads are so close to spirit that everyone born within the air nomads is an airbender. You know what I'm saying? So from there you have the Fire Nation. Which the Fire Nation is kind of like a island nation.
Yeah.
I believe their whole nation was made from a volcano. But they're more like an island nation, almost like think of like Japan in a way, How Japan's just kind of this long island. The Fire Nation's not shaped exactly like it, but just to give you an idea of where it sits. And the Fire Nation are very much, I think they're the most industrialized nation, because
Yeah.
they make a lot of machines and, they make a lot of use of fire, with their ingenuity and everything that they do. So I would say that the Fire Nation is probably the most technologically advanced of the four nations. It would probably be the Earth Kingdom, not far behind, but like mechanically, I think they're definitely the top as far as that.
Oh yeah.
So you have these four nations within this story, and within the story, the four nations require balance, so things don't get out of harmony. So the Avatar is actually a spirit he's specifically sent here to keep the balance amongst the four nations. And that's how we get our main protagonist in the story, Avatar Aang. Now, Avatar Aang is an airbender, which means that he can wield air. Avatar Aang.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Come
of
on now, tell him
think
about him.
I'm
Tell
thinking
him
of
about him.
doing my air scooter.
Yes.
So Avatar Aang was born into the air nomads, and how would you describe Aang? He's definitely, in a nutshell, for me, he's a goofy little kid, but he's like,
Yeah.
at the same time, he's an old soul because he has so much
Yeah.
wisdom within his young
Mhm.
body. I think
Mhm.
he's a great balance of those things. Like, he's a total goofy kid, and he has a lot of wisdom. To kind of balance
Yeah.
him out in a way. But how would you describe Aang and his personality?
Um, I would have said conflicted because it'd be times where he's just like, I know I should do this, but I'm gonna have fun instead. Like he lets his kid side come
Yeah,
out still, regardless. Um, but Aang is a when I say proud, not in a negative way. He's a proud human and a proud avatar.
he's a
Even though
proud air nomad.
he's a proud, hella proud air nomad. 'Cause he's them are those are the people he wants to share with everybody. He's like, hey, like we do this. This is do y'all not do it
Mm-hmm.
like this? But Aang is grown for his stature, and mentally, spiritually, he has grown for his stature. Um, which is something that's admirable about him that I really like. So I ain't gonna get too deep on that part, but that's something that I admire about him.
Well, you can tell that the teachings of the monks like really lived through
Yeah,
him. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah,
really absorbed his upbringing and the way that the air nomads kind of taught him to live in a way,
mhm, mhm, mhm. He knows how to have fun. Aang knows how to have fun. He's not a guy that's just like I gotta stick strictly to business. So this is this all the time. He's like we just got done having being serious. Let's take a load off. Let's relax. Let's have some fun. Then we can get back to business. Um,
Well, going back to
so he
people
is the
being like the element, like the people of each nation being
hmm
like the element, the air nomads, like, they're very like into like practical jokes and being funny. Because
yeah,
if you notice, Aang's was pretty much always in a good mood,
yeah,
and he also had his head in the clouds a lot. Like, that's another thing,
yeah.
as like the element of air. It kind of showed you that air nomads
hmm
are like, they're more in the present, I guess you could say. You
hmm
know, but it's
hmm
hard for Aang. Going back to the story, it was hard for Aang to be in the moment, having knowing what was his oncoming conflict that was going to happen. You know,
yeah, yeah.
which we can get into later. But yeah. So you have Avatar Aang. Now Aang is 12 years old at the time in this story.
112.
Yes.
No, you said in where I get in your where we're at technically. Yeah, he is 12. My man is hella young, but
Well, we can get into that. We
sorry,
can
I ain't mean it.
we can show them
Nah,
how he became 112 in a 12-year old's body.
my man did not
All
find
right.
the fountain of youth whatsoever.
All right. So so the Avatar, there's usually this tradition because the Avatar is, when the Avatar dies, the spirit is reborn in the next nation in the cycle. So say when
hmm
Aang dies, the next Avatar will be a waterbender. And then the next Avatar after that will be what? Fire or earth, one of those. Whatever
Earth,
the cycle is.
Earth. hmm
Um but I forgot what the fuck I was going with that. um
him becoming 112.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Thanks for keeping me on track.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so Aang is 12 at the time. The Avatar is usually told that they're the Avatar when they're 16. It's kind of like a tradition type of thing, you know. But the air nomads felt that with this looming threat that was sure to come, that they needed to get Aang prepared earlier. So they ended up telling Aang early that he's the Avatar. And the Avatar, as we said before, their job is to keep peace and balance amongst the four nations. So you can imagine that responsibility getting thrust upon a 12-year-old that just wants to ride air scooters and play tag with its friends and be a kid, you know. And now he has this responsibility of, I'm the world's savior, pretty much. So Aang is conflicted by this. Aang is conflicted by the news that he's heard. So he decides to run away. He decides to turn his back, run away. He leaves his home. I believe Aang was from the Southern Air Temple. He leaves his home at the Southern Air Temple, rides away on Appa. Now, Appa is a large flying bison that an air nomad, when they're kids, they're pretty much bonded with these bison for life. It's almost like a spirit guide, spirit animal kind of thing, you know. So he flies away on Appa. He's in the middle of the ocean when he gets caught in the middle of a storm. Waves everywhere. They start to close in on he and Appa. Appa can't fly out, so the waves engulf them and take them, kind of just pulling them to the bottom of the ocean. All right. So before this can happen, and before Appa and Aang drown to death, the Avatar state kicks in. Now the Avatar state, that's a whole nother subject right there. Aang is actually in
That
the
is.
Avatar state right here. If you see his tattoos glowing, that means he's in the Avatar state. You can see it on his arm right there as well. But these tattoos represent being an air nomad, being a master of airbending. You don't get those tattoos unless you're top notch at airbending. And he was able to get those before he was a teenager. He got his tattoos, you know. So that says a lot to his ability. All right, where was I?
Avatar State saving.
Okay, there
Before
we
they
go.
got drowned. Yeah.
Yep. So before they drown, Aang goes into the Avatar state. Now the Avatar state is an accumulation of every past Avatar, every past life that the present Avatar has already lived. He'll have all the knowledge and the power of all of his past lives or her past lives. All right. This is pretty much what they call like a defense mechanism. Aang goes into this state and he surrounds he and Appa in this sphere of ice. Pretty much like a cryo freeze, you know? So that's how our protagonist gets into this little pickle. But
boy,
what happens at the beginning of the story is you have a brother and a sister, Katara and Sokka. They end up running across Aang's iceberg and setting him free. And this is how we learn that Aang is 112. When he ran away from home 100 years ago, he was a 12-year-old boy. Now that he's unfrozen, he's still in that 12-year-old body. But now 100 years have passed, so Aang has missed out on 100 years of war, 100 years of just activity that the Avatar was supposed to be there for. The Avatar's purpose was to be there for these years, and the world did not have the Avatar to keep balance for a century. So Aang starts this journey with Sokka and Katara to pretty much learn what the Avatar is, what the Avatar does. You know, he didn't have many guys to tell him. That's one thing about Aang. He didn't start out with a lot of teachers and guides to show him how to do things. He really had to figure things out. You know, as a 12-year-old kid, he had to go and figure it out, you know.
Yeah.
And he had to go through a lot just to communicate with anyone. He had to go through a lot. Like when he went to I think it was during the solstice when when Avatar Roku told him to come and see him at the statue. Like he had to go through a lot. He had to go through like a Fire Nation blockade and everything just to communicate with Roku and find out the next step of the path of the Avatar. So he went through a ton. He went through a ton. But back to Sokka and Katara. Sokka and Katara are the first two supporting characters that we run into. They are from the Southern. Are they Southern Water Tribe? Yeah, they're from the Southern Water Tribe. Yeah, because they went to the North Pole to train. Sokka and Katara are from the Southern Water Tribe, which is it looks like a town compared to the Northern Water Tribe. The Northern Water Tribe looks like this bustling city of glaciers and water, you know, and the Southern Water Tribe just looks like, you know, some tribes people out in the snow. You know what I'm saying? But also throughout these years, these 100 years, you know, the Southern Water Tribe has been subject to a lot of raids by the Fire Nation. So a lot of the Southern Water Tribe has been destroyed. A lot of their people are either dead or imprisoned, you know, so there's not many of the Southern Water Tribe left at this point in time. All the men of the Southern Water Tribe have left to fight in this war because this 100 years that Aang has been frozen, the Fire Nation has taken it upon themselves to pretty much wage war with all the other nations, pretty much kind of put their foot on their neck, you know, and say that, you know, you guys should adopt our ideologies, you guys should adopt our customs, you know, things like that. Which is a story that, you know, we can relate to in this day and age.
Most definitely.
But yes, the Fire Nation has pretty much waged war. Aang has no idea. So this is unbeknownst to Aang that all this has happened. And another huge thing that Aang learns throughout this is that every other air nomad that existed has been wiped out. So Aang in the beginning, he has some he's very optimistic in the beginning before they go to the Southern Water Tribe. I mean before they go to the Southern Air Temple.
Yeah.
He's very optimistic that, you know, some of them may have survived. You know, he's still trying to accept this reality of being gone 100 years for one, you know, with the world needing him and then coming back to hearing that there's been a war going on the whole time he's been gone, you know. So Aang, Sokka, and Katara, they set out on a mission it's like a mission of balance, you know. They set out because the Avatar needs to master all four elements. Like that's the duty of an Avatar. Back in the day, the Avatar would travel the world and have different teachers. He would go to the Earth Kingdom, train earthbending, go to the Water Tribe, go and train waterbending, go to the Fire Nation, train firebending. That's what the Avatar did. The Avatar has to do that within every cycle. So every time the Avatar is reborn, they have to remaster the elements. Each new Avatar has to remaster the elements. So our crew goes on this journey to you know, because he's already a master. Aang's already a master of air. Now he has to master water, earth, and fire to completely become the Avatar. So they set out on their mission, and they come across a lot of interesting characters. The Kyoshi warriors, those hippies that they were in the cave with. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Man, it's killing a dang on guitar.
I know, man. Don't let the cave get you down, Sokka. But yeah, man. So this show is pretty much about them going on these adventures, man, and as they make their way to these different destinations, because their ultimate goal is to get Aang trained, because they find out that there's a comet coming. Now, I think this comet only comes every 100 years. This comet comes.
Yeah.
So with this comet, the last time it came, the Fire Lord, which is the leader of the Fire Nation, they used the power. They harnessed the power of the comet to wage that war on the air nomads and wipe them out. Like, that's how they wiped them out, because with that comet, that amplifies a firebender's firebending. It's temporary, but it really amplifies their firebending, you know? So it just so happens that when Aang comes back, this damn comet is on the way again. So Aang, I think it was by like next summer. So what did he have? Maybe a year?
Yeah.
I never really knew like the timeline of this whole thing. I was like, did he have a couple months or a year or what? How? Yeah, I was always kind of confused.
The way
with
the way they made that
if anybody knows,
it looked like it was only a couple
let us know in the comments, please.
Yeah.
But where was I?
So, air nomads wiped out.
Okay, so yeah, they used the
comet.
Yeah, so Sozin's comet, which they end up calling it. Sozin's comet is coming, and the Fire Nation plans on using this comet again to pretty much wipe everything out, pretty much to burn everything down and rebuild it from the ashes. That's what the Fire Nation, that's what their goal has become. So in order to stop the Fire Lord and to stop this from happening, Aang must master all the 4 elements, because in his present state, he won't be able to beat the Fire Lord as just an airbender, you know? So their first stop is the Northern Air Temple, which is the sister. They're like the sister tribe to the Southern Air Temple, Sokka and Katara's people. Oh yeah. Also, at this time, they found a little lemur named Momo, which is a nice comic relief in the story. And all the girls, you'll think he's cute and all that. So watch Avatar.
And Appa too. Y'all like Appa.
Yep. So we got Appa, we got Momo, we got Katara, we got Sokka, and we got Aang. So we got our group of 5 headed out to the water tribe, so Aang can master water bending.
What happened to you?
I'm still good over here.
Okay. It's funky on my end. It's got you black screened on my side.
Yeah, I didn't get any alerts or anything on my side.
All right. We good. My apologies. All right. We'll carry on.
So these guys, they set out. So Aang can learn. Oh man, this is a big thing I didn't touch on. Katara is a waterbender. Katara's
the last in her tribe.
Yes, the last one. She's the last waterbender of the Southern Water Tribe. But at this time, she hasn't been trained. She doesn't even really understand her power. So she just has little things that she can do, but she really has no control of it. So she's also at the North Pole to learn water bending as well, so she can become a master. That's one of her big goals, is to become a water bending master. So they run into Aang's first teacher, which is Master Paku. Master Paku agrees to teach Aang, but when Katara wants to be taught, he's like, nah. He's like, you should be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You should
Word
be
for
in the
word,
kitchen.
this is how this man said it too.
You should be in the kitchen cooking up. You're not supposed to be out here doing water bending, because water bending is used for combat. That's not the only thing it's used for, but it's very widely used for defense and combat. It's merged into these different martial arts styles, which I really like extensively studied. Airbending comes from a Chinese martial art called Bagua, or circle walking. I believe the Fire Nation came from Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. All the moves are based on Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. Earthbending was based on the Hung Gar stance. I believe that was a southern one as well, a southern style as well. If someone knows more about Hung Gar, let me know. But I think that was a southern Kung Fu style as well. The Hung Gar style, if you'll notice, every style really meshes with that element well. So the Hung Gar style is used for earthbending because the Hung Gar style is a very strong, rooted stance, very direct, hard strikes. So you'll see the earthbenders as they're earthbending. You'll see that Hung Gar in action, and it really is very beautiful to watch. Water bending, the flowing nature of water. Water bending is based off of Tai Chi. Tai Chi is very slow, fluid, flowing movements, but that's what water bending is based off of. And
breathing control.
Yeah, that's a big one for fire bending too, because fire bending actually comes from breathing. I remember Iroh, Zuko's uncle, which we'll get to you guys. We'll tell you about him another time.
Yeah.
He was explaining to Zuko that his fire bending doesn't come from his muscles, but it comes from the breath. You know what I'm saying? What other one? We did Bagua airbending, Hung Gar, Northern Shaolin, and then Tai Chi. Okay, we covered all of our bases. But those are the kung fu styles that all the bending is based off of. They've merged these martial arts movements with controlling a specific element, and I think it's very, very, very well done. Shout out to Sifu Kisu. Sifu Kisu was the he helped like choreograph the moves that you see in Avatar. When you see something being done, it's probably him, like in a motion capture suit. That's like all his moves. You know what I'm saying? I could send you some stuff on him too. He's very dope martial artist. But shout out to Sifu Kisu. He's the reason we have such a great merger of the elements and martial arts within the Avatar series, man. And yeah, I got mad respect for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So from there, we're just gonna go a little bit further. Master Paku does not want to teach Katara. He tells Katara to go to the healing hut, which is another technique that you can use for waterbending. Waterbending can also be used for healing, not just combat. When they manipulate the water, they can control the water in every way. So they can control the temperature, if they want to steam it, if they want to turn it into ice, you know what I'm saying, when they're wielding it. Because water is very versatile, you know what I'm saying? And so waterbenders can control that element, in every way. So back to Katara. Of course, Katara is pretty headstrong. So Master Paku denying teaching her makes her pretty upset. So she says, "I want to smoke, Paku," and she proceeds to attack Master Paku and show him like, "Yo, I'm worthy of being taught," you know? So they have this epic fight, which you guys will enjoy. It's some big girl power for you, ladies. It's some big girl power for you. Katara shows that she's a good enough warrior as any of the men that are training or that he trains, you know. But through this, they make a discovery, and Paku in the end decides to teach her and Aang. So he becomes the official first teacher of the show, Master Paku. You got anything else you want to add?
No, you've been hitting it so far. You've been hitting it.
So
you want it. They
I'll go a little. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you good. Go ahead. That's what I was getting ready to jump to like another section into that like fighting wise.
I was just gonna wrap up a little what I was saying about the book 1, the Water Tribe, that little part. So book 1 is very important. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the importance of that. Book 1 is very important because
identities get started.
Yeah, for sure. Like all around. All around.
And then you get to see like a hint of characteristics from like deeper characteristics from everybody. Whether Zuko comes into this episode or Zuko comes into this book also, and so does Uncle Iroh. But you get to see small glimpses of who every character is. And then you find out like Sokka is your lead comic relief. Like when things get too serious, Sokka is your guy that's like, all right, let me bring everybody back down. You know.
Sokka's kind of like the sacrifice. He always gets messed up for everyone's amusement.
Yeah. 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 But he is okay with it though. He is okay being the punching bag because he knows like if I don't keep it together, we will fall apart, you know.
Very sarcastic.
He is hella sarcastic. But he has that right to be though, because he's like a he's like a master of none but a jack of all trades. So he's pretty darn versatile with just about everything he gets into. He can get himself out of shit, but he can't at the same time. Like he sticks his foot in his own ass most of the time though. But yeah, book 1 is definitely a true like character identity moment.
Yeah, it
Learning
really sets the
everybody.
pace well.
Yeah.
For everybody's development, like to see where everybody's development can go, you know. Because, you know, throughout the story, Sokka's he starts off a certain way and he ends a whole different way. I mean, he still has a lot of those same, you know, qualities, but you know, just as far as like his maturity and growth as a man is just like he makes like leaps and bounds, you know.
On top of he is the oldest in the group at this point. So that's another thing too. Of he's almost like you know like their dad was part of the warriors that went off to fight in the war. So he is technically the man of the household of the whole tribe. Basically, like he's got to watch over everybody. So he takes that crown very seriously, and even with
he took that to heart.
Aang with Aang and his sister too, he was like, all right, I got to watch over y'all, you know. So even I might get in trouble, but I'm still watching over y'all for sure. So Sokka's definitely a key piece to the whole Avatar show, I think. But
Yeah, because when you start
that's for another
looking back,
time. Yeah.
when you start looking back at certain characters, you'll realize what key role they played into the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like just something like Sokka being somebody that plans or has ideas, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Really played
Yeah.
an important part. You know, like a super
So
important part.
book one's huge. And he is a Sokka is your he's also your lover boy too. Like he is every beautiful girl they come across, he is head over heels for just about. So but he knows what like who to go after. But and it's also about like that energy. Um certain energy attracts certain energy, and that energy that he gives off appeases the energy that he's pulling towards him. So he's a ladies' man. I will say that. Like he is a true ladies' man in the show.
I know Ty Lee was trying to capture him while calling him cute and shit.
Yeah, she's playing with my man head right there too.
I
That's
know Sokka
dangerous.
had Suki, Ty Lee was up on him.
He had
Who
the
else?
he had
Oh
the
yeah,
moon girl from
UA,
the north.
yeah,
Yue, yeah,
UA,
he had
yeah.
her.
Damn, Sokka was macking.
Uh, and then he went when they went into the Earth Kingdom. He had he wa- he fell in on the school full of girls
Yeah,
and
yeah,
was in there
yeah,
acting
yeah.
up, hitting. My man knows some haikus, boy. He was in there
Yeah,
giving it to the
yeah,
teacher.
yeah. Oh, Ba
But
Sing Se.
well,
Hell
man,
yeah.
shoo. Who
But yeah,
else?
those are some key things of
Yeah.
those are the key things in book one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Aang discovers that the airbenders are wiped out. That's something that he has to accept. So but he also has, the love of the airbenders are in the form of his new family, which is now
Yep.
Sokka, Katara, and Appa and Momo.
Yep.
So Aang has to accept a lot, he has to let go a lot, and he has to really move forward, man, faster than you would probably want to,
Mm-hmm.
because there's big things at hand. There's things coming that have to be prepared for, and he really learns that he can't choose who he is. He has to
No.
accept who he is, because in the beginning, in book one, Aang really doesn't want to be the Avatar. He doesn't want that
Nah.
responsibility, or the pressure of things. And there's a few instances where he lies about it. Like when he first met Katara and
Mm-hmm.
Sokka, he didn't tell them he was the Avatar. They just thought he was
Mm-mm.
an airbender. They found out later. So there were times in the story where he would hide the fact that he is the Avatar. So he had a few identity crises in book one,
Yeah.
really, really accepting who he is. And I think when I think about it now, going over into book two, he had a lot less of that. Like and by book two, he had
Hey.
already accepted that he was the Avatar and he was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big thing in book one that he deals with,
Yeah.
is his identity and accepting his identity.
Yeah. I did like the fact that they in book one they kind of established his loving support off the rip too, because as soon as he like laid eyes on Katara, he was already in love with her. I'm like, to me, like I'm like, man, it's gonna take me a while to be in love with a woman, not at first sight like that, but
Hey, that's the first thing
to
he
him it
saw
was
in
on that.
100 years.
Yeah, yeah. He said she is it. So, but she was definitely his support, his loving support. Like she brought him back down all he needed was a touch from her, and he was like, all right, let me stop acting freaking. Let me stop getting riled up over this. Let me come back down. And
Katara is very
she legit
motherly.
kept him. Yes, like that's a better word for her too, because she lost hers, so her having to take that mantle also, and now somebody younger than her around, like she's got to do that. So
Oh, that's a good bit of
that was
key
a
information right there.
mm-hmm.
Katara and Sokka's mother was killed in a Fire Nation raid. So
Yeah.
they both have a lot of resentment towards the Fire Nation, which most
Mm-hmm.
of the world at this point,
Most of the
because
world.
the Fire Nation they're really on the verge of winning at this point. So they have an
Mm-hmm.
influence all over the world, but so they've also affected Katara and Sokka's parents and their family as well. So damn, now that I think about it, Aang lost his people, they lost their mother. That was something that drew them together.
They,
That
yeah,
loss drew them together. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, man.
yeah. That's
But yeah, book one, man. Book one was very
mm-hmm.
interesting. It really set the tone. It's not my favorite
Oh
book,
yeah.
but it set the tone for
Nah.
sure. It's
Yeah.
definitely valuable, and it really sets the tone for the story moving forward, man.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
You get some you learn Appa is more of a Appa's a even though he's a flying bison, he just doesn't have like you would think, like he's just not programmed to have any kind of like characteristics or anything like that. Appa is a being an air nomadic like bison. He is in tune with so much already, so he can sense the good in people. He can sense the bad in people. Um, and
Well, the
you learn that
Airbenders,
in
that's how they
season one.
learned airbending, was from the
Yeah,
Sky Bison.
yeah. So he can he's able to sense that out in people, and him and Momo, even though they are good friends, but Momo just does some shit to kind of piss him off a lot, like taking food and stuff. My buddy
I,
Appa's got 5 stomachs, and he's got to eat constantly. And
I love
Momo's
their
like, yeah, nah,
relationship, man.
yeah,
I love that they
oh
touch
yeah,
on Appa and Momo's relationship. So you have this
hmm
little lemur, you have this giant bison that have this relationship, man, and they be looking out for one another. I remember when they got caught in the
oh yeah,
swamp together. They was riding out together.
oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
riding out.
Appa would
The
get caught in
boys
some
is
vines, and Momo would come and chew the vines to get him loose. And
hmm
yeah, they really looked out
keep
for
it
one
going.
another, man. And that was
Oh
one thing
yeah,
Aang said after because they found Momo at the Southern Air Temple,
hmm
and he was like the last one left, man. There was like it was a barren land, the Air Temple. Um, but Aang said before they left, like we're the last things left,
oh,
you know,
hmm
of pretty much the air nomad culture, in the world,
yeah,
So I really love that they showed how to even the animals they really stuck together. You know what I'm saying? And
hmm
actually had a relationship. Because like you were saying, sometimes Momo would be getting on Appa's nerves, and yeah, man, I love that, man. I love that aspect of it. All right,
mm,
man. I say we wrap it up for that part, man.
mm. Tell you didn't we didn't tell them like how we came about coming across Avatar at all, because that's huge for some of the people. Like some people now are just like they see it and they're like, oh, colors and shit, and it looks fun. But like, what drew you to the last Airbender from the get go?
Me, it was. I could tell you the first episode I saw. I forgot where I was, but a TV was on and somebody had it on Nickelodeon, and the show came on and it just looked different. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
the exact episode it was when they were lost in the desert after they lost Appa.
Whew. Yeah.
'Cause I distinctly remember and seeing You remember when Toph accidentally kicks that little sand thing that they were flying around in, or they were going in?
The
It was
sand
like,
dune. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was like around that part. And I was like, what's going on? So I just started watching it a little bit. Didn't really know what was going on, but it was just interesting to me. And I forget how I came back to it and ended up watching it. I think I might have seen it and asked whoever was watching it, like, what is this? And I think they might have told me, and I went and found it.
Mm-hmm.
Started watching it and fell in love with it. But it was I don't know, man. It was just it's something that really caught my eye. It's very interesting. It was just, that's all I can really say, is it was just something different when I saw it, and I was like, you know what? Let me check this out.
Yeah.
And then when I started, all it takes is that first episode, and then from there, I'm just like,
You
okay, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm into this. And then you just keep watching episode after episode after episode, and then you're like, man, this story is like, it's like I can't wait for the next one to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the story was just very, it was very captivating to me.
Yeah.
I like the comedic aspect of it. It was just something that came together. The way they brought it together was just so well. I can't really describe, but it really drew me in. Everything drew me in. The art style drew me in. The voice acting was good. The martial arts for sure drew me in. And then the story, as the story progressed, that started to draw me in. So it's just like this whole complete form of work started to draw me in piece by piece, Everything that was just thrown in to create this full work of art started to draw me in. And the music, shit, it might have been the music that drew me in, because I was listening to the soundtrack today, actually. Like, that's something I'd listen to a good bit, are the Avatar soundtracks and the Korra soundtracks. Like, those are very well done soundtracks, So it was like a culmination of all that drew me into the show.
I like that.
What about you?
It hit me. I couldn't tell you exactly what episode it was, because it was, I think when I seen a meme of Sokka first. I think that's what it was, and I was trying to figure out like what it was all about and everything. And this is Twitter at the time when I seen it. So I'm like going through comments trying to figure out the name of the show or whatnot to find it. And at first, like I'm a skeptic when it comes to like animes to watch, because I'm like this ain't gonna, if it don't draw my, like, it's just like music, like if it don't hit me and draw my attention in the first like couple minutes, like I'm not gonna be with it.
I'm with
But
you on
I
that.
think it was just more of it was a mystery for me, like watching it at first, because um I think I think the part that I end up seeing like episode wise was Zuko um chasing the Avatar out, or in the when he was out in the water, um right before they were coming to the Air Temple. So, or not the Air Temple, the Southern Water Tribe. And him and his uncle were going back and forth, and he's yelling at his uncle about restoring his honor. And I was like, oh, buddy, like, what the what the fuck did you do to mess up? That bad that you got to restore your own honor. And so I think that's what got me the first time. But then as I started watching it, I was like, oh, this is good shit. Like, it was a mystery to me at first. I was like, oh, okay, what's next? Like, I didn't finish this one episode. Now I got to figure out what's going on now. Like, what's next in this episode? What's what outlandish shit's about to happen? And once I got into it, I was like, man, okay, I can't stop now. I gotta keep watching. And I done fucked around and had binge watched like the whole her whole like first session and a couple and within a day or so at the time. So the show, man, I
Oh, bro, I straight up
it's
went
up
and bought
there.
the box set.
Yeah.
For real. That's in my collection.
Got it. I feel it. Yeah, that's a man. I'm excited because now we get to the good juicy stuff next, boy. So everybody get to have a piece of that. That's gonna be the fun part right there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So book one, Avatar. Have you ever seen it? Will you see it? Will you
Yeah.
take our recommendation?
Mm.
We're gonna come in with some more parts of this, man. This is a widely extensive world. I believe they're supposed to be making what Avatar Studios on Paramount Plus, I
I think
believe. So it's
so.
supposed to be like
Yeah.
a whole Avatar universe. You know what I'm saying? Which I can
Oh.
definitely get into.
Oh yeah.
I could sit and watch a whole Avatar universe all day. You know.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
Avatar Book One, Shinobi podcast, King
You know,
Shinobi, Mr. Smooth.
Mr. Smooth. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. Always. Always. I got like this second, like, I don't know. I was good and tired. Then I got tired. Then I hit like this second win. So,
Uh huh. I think that second
uh-huh.
wind hit me too.
Yeah.
I know, right? It's like you
I don't know
gotta
what it is. You
shake it
got shit.
off.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Oh yeah.
Ready to go. Yeah, man. It ain't easy out here, y'all.
Sure.
It ain't easy
Mm-mm.
pumping out these episodes, man, and actually having a life on top of it. You know.
Oh
But you know,
yeah.
me and Mr. Smooth, some things we do that we don't want to do, but we got to do it because it keeps us honest, man.
Hmm.
We'd rather not be filming at 10 o'clock at night, almost 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, here we are, man. We wanted to get this to y'all, man. Keep getting that content out there.
Hmm.
Season two, season two is gonna be coming soon. We're gonna get that thing going. All I can really say is your patience is gonna be worth the wait. It really is.
It is.
And we knocking this thing out, man. We knocking season two out. You know, we've still figuring things out. I think that's just always gonna be. But
Yeah.
now it's like I'll speak for myself. It feels like every time we make some progress, it gets us closer to like just having this efficient thing that we can like go by after we figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So we're figuring
Hmm.
it out little by little. Like we were talking about, you know, maybe doing less time on episodes, you know what I'm saying? That way you guys can, you know, you can get more of a volume of things, and that way we don't have to do these 4-hour sessions that are killing us, you know what I'm saying? So we're just figuring this thing
True.
out, man. And we appreciate you guys for being along for the ride, man. I know years and years from now we're going to be looking back at this and being like, man, that is where we started. Look where we at now. We just got to keep pumping this shit
Right.
out, man. That's it. Just keep pumping it out. Staying consistent, man. You got any plugs before we roll up out of here?
Uh, Not at this moment. I got some in the works though. So we're gonna have some good shot. We're gonna have some good partnerships, some good shout outs here soon. I'm working with one that's got a screen printing kind of thing going on too. So see how
Okay.
that goes here soon. We have some merch coming. So we're gonna be up
All
there,
right.
y'all. Gonna be up there.
No doubt, man. We making it happen, man. We making it happen. Slow and
Yeah.
steady wins
Mm-hmm.
the race. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. We're going slow and steady, but we got those pockets where we got to sprint, you know, and then we could take it back steady again, you know. Just
Definitely.
continuously find our groove, man, and ride that wave, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah. It's a marathon,
But every
not a sprint.
oh, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, taking it as a marathon, you just you continue to get better, man, because you allow yourself to get better. You allow yourself to get better. So it's good stuff, man. I always appreciate being here where we can make this happen. We're gonna be back with another episode in a couple of days, man. We gonna really get this groove going, man. We're gonna really get this groove going. So much love to everybody. Mr. Smooth, you wanna say anything to the people closing out?
Man, shout out to our Patreons right now, man. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Like I always say, man, buckle up because this is gonna be a fantastic, fun season. We got so much in store for y'all. So, like King Shinobi said earlier, your patience is appreciated. Trust me, trust and believe. It is widely and greatly appreciated. Man, I'm excited though because we got a big one coming up. We got a big episode coming up, so we get to have our first official guest too. So get to see that, man. So we got a lot in store, man. I'm excited. All
right, baby. There you have it, everyone. Remember, be on the lookout. Everything Mr. Smooth was talking about, man. We're gonna get guests on here. And we got more things coming for you, man. You guys gotta sit tight, man. Sit tight. It's gonna be well worth it. We're gonna keep giving you value. And remember to hit up Patreon, man. If you're waiting on season 2, we got extra content for you, man, to keep you busy. I know extra content for you guys to check out. And we're gonna add to that Patreon every month, man. We still got videos in the vault ready for you. So
oh yeah.
Much appreciation, everybody. Thank you guys for supporting the Shinobi podcast. Me and Mr. Smooth about to ride out, get some food, and get some sleep. Remember, check out Avatar The Last Airbender. Remember, that's something good to watch with your kids, man. Watch it together. Get the family together and check it out, man. Has good morals, man, especially for the kids. This is something that I would recommend that you show your kid. Watch it with them, though. You know, great show. Shout out to Michael DiMartino and Brian Knitsko, the creators of Avatar.
Yes.
They have a very interesting story as well. If you guys check that out on YouTube, man, just type in Avatar Last Airbender documentary. Those guys have a very interesting story on how they met and how the show Avatar exists. And we're talking about their creation right now, you know. And it's very inspiring as well. It just goes to show you that, you know, you have these ideas, you put it into action, you get the resources that you need, and you can put it out into the world, man. And, you know, people will be having some interesting discussions about your creations, that came out of your mind, you know. You get to share that with the world. So I love that we get to do that, man. And I appreciate you guys for checking us out. So, Mr. Smooth, we about to sign out. Much love to everybody. Another episode of the Shinobi podcast. King Shinobi.
Mr. Smooth.
And we out, baby. Peace.
Peace.